If I only think about spring planting, I miss out on some of the best growing months of the year. For me, the late summer and fall are when the garden really pulls its weight. My goal is to grow 650 pounds of food with a focus on nutrition and reducing our grocery store bill. My spring garden accounts for roughly 200 pounds, plus tomatoes and melons that are planted in the spring but don't really produce until late summer. In the spring, a huge portion of my garden is taken up by broccoli and potatoes. Broccoli is the first major crop to come out of the garden, usually out by July 1st. That leaves me with about 100 days before frost, which is a lot of growing time in the warm part of the year. I use this space for the crops that need the longest runway. In the large in-ground bed on the south side, I'm planting my shortest crop, bush green beans. I switched from pole green beans this year because the birds destroyed my crop last season, and bush green beans are easier to protect. Behind them, I step up in height and plant a row of sweet peppers. I also add a row just behind my lavender hedge. I love the combination of the lavender flowers and the little peppers forming. It looks beautiful and attracts pollinators. I'm also adding marigolds between the peppers this year for added pest protection. In the center of the bed, I'm planting 4 bush acorn squash. Bush varieties fit my space better because they don't need heavy trellising and they are often quicker to mature. Because this crop is going in after broccoli, I need this shorter timeline to ensure that I get a harvest before frost. Along the north edge, I'm planting Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are a little bit of an experiment. They take about 100 days to mature and taste better after a light frost. So my goal is to have them fully mature by the time frost arrives. I'm hoping the squash I have planted on the south side helps to shade the soil of the Brussels sprouts and keep them cool throughout the summer heat. While the squash and Brussels are small, there'll be lots of extra space around them. I'll interplant a row of basil, both for pesto and light pest protection, and I'll add oregano between the Brussels sprouts to act as a living mulch to help keep the roots cool and moist. Beside the arched trellises, I'll also add sunflowers for the pollinators, my kids' enjoyment, and to make some homemade roasted sunflower butter. On the west end of my smaller in-ground bed, the broccoli will be replaced with summer lettuce. When that bolts, I'll replace it with a cool weather variety. This area is protected from the harsh afternoon sun, and with the melon growing on the trellis nearby, it should provide some extra shade. Shade is important to lettuce to keep it nice and cool so that it can live through the summer heat. On the west end, I'll plant 1 zucchini. As long as I don't snap the stem like I did last year, I'm estimating a harvest around 6 pounds. I like to harvest my zucchini when they are small and on the tender side. In my south-facing front yard bed, broccoli will be replaced by 3 bush butternut squash. Stepping down in height in front of those butternut squash, I'll plant jalapenos alternating with bush green beans. While the squash is small, I'll interplant more basil. In the west-facing bed, I'm planting Brussels sprouts interplanted with sage. The back half of this bed gets a fair amount of shade from the maple branches hanging overhead. This should help keep the Brussels cool through the summer heat. Along the front edge where the bed gets more direct light, I'll plant jalapenos and some bush green beans. They will appreciate the extra warmth and light. After that first wave of succession planting is done, I turn my focus to the next beds that are going to start opening up, the potatoes. Potatoes come out around mid-July, leaving me about 80 days of growing time. Last year, my favorite succession planting was turnips after potatoes, so this year I'm scaling that up. 1 full 3x8 bed will be dedicated to turnips, mainly to make a lighter version of shepherd's pie that I can make in bulk and freeze for quick meals. The second potato bed, I'm planning to build a cold frame to overwinter some dark leafy greens and other cool-tolerant salad crops. I haven't finalized the exact mix yet, but that space will be ready when I decide. This bed plays an important role in our winter nutrition goals. I'm hoping to have a steady supply of dark leafy greens in a time of year where fresh greens are hard to find and usually expensive. Both of these options are cold tolerant and quick growing, which gives me some flexibility if the potatoes need more time to size up. Once my onions and spring root crops finish up near the end of July, I'll replant those beds with a second crop of carrots. Carrots are one of my most useful vegetables. I'm estimating a harvest of 52 pounds from this planting. I'll be trying a new carrot variety designed for fall to see if I can increase my yields by better variety selection. In my L-shaped raised bed, right in front of the peas, I'll plant a mix of cucumbers and melons. The peas should finish just as the cucumbers and melons are ready to climb the trellis, so the structure gets reused without any downtime. Dedicating this much space to fruit is definitely a shift for me, but my kids absolutely love melons during the summer, and they're getting a little bit pricey at the store. If growing it keeps them excited about the garden and saves us a little bit of money at the store, it's absolutely worth the space. In the same bed, I'm experimenting with a fall planting of snap peas in front of my paste tomatoes. Since I prune the lower leaves off the tomatoes, the bottom portion of the trellis opens up again, which creates just enough vertical space for a quick crop of peas. I much prefer snap peas fresh rather than frozen, so they're usually just a spring treat for us. But if I can make a fall planting work too, that would be such a bonus. In the center of the small in-ground bed where the dwarf cabbages were, I'll plant more sweet peppers. Growing a good amount of sweet peppers is one of my goals for this year, and that's why I'm planting so many. Since I wait until the weather has fully warmed, I'm planning for a single strong flush rather than multiple waves of peppers ripening. In front of the sweet peppers where the spring lettuce was, I'll plant more bush green beans. I want a good harvest of these because they are perfect for freezing and pulling out all winter. They are my go-to side for pasta and for a simple dinner of protein, veggie, and a starch. Honestly, everybody in my family would happily eat green beans a few times a week. In the front yard, I'm planting a second round of fall cabbages, interplanted with marigolds after the spring cabbages come out. Because we mainly eat cabbages fresh, the second succession is key to stretching our harvest into the late season. With that last round of cabbage in place, the succession planting for all my beds is set. Altogether, my summer and fall plantings should yield around 300 pounds of food. When I add that to the 200 pounds from my spring crops and the 160 pounds from tomatoes, that brings my total to 660 pounds of homegrown produce for the year. If everything goes perfectly, and of course it rarely does. There will be some unexpected wins, some losses, and a few tweaks along the way, but that's part of the fun. And that's exactly why I plan my fall garden now. Not in July, not when the beds are empty, but in the winter when I can see the whole season clearly and make use of every square foot. In the next video, I'll show you the specific varieties I chose for this small but highly productive garden, why I picked them, and how picking the right varieties can make or break a succession plan.